All right, Dr. Ron England here, and this is how ASP.Core.NET. How do I? So here's the how do I. I am currently logged into my application. This is a specific situation where I want to show a list, which is a scaffolded index from a database, which shows the database fields from one of the .NET Core example tutorial that I've created. And notice that it shows one entry. Well, this one entry is an entry that's filtered on the user ID, my user ID. I'm going to show you how to filter on that user ID, but I also have a button here, or a link here that I created that says View All. If I click the View All, voila, I now have all of them, including the ones that I didn't enter. Now, how did I do that? Here it is. We'll jump out. Let's first go to the index page, and let's look at the link that I created. Right here, an href $v equals all. Basically a get parameter. I can do this with multiple parameters. I can do this as a single parameter. But when I click on the view all, it's going to call index. It's going to go ahead and put a page request in for index with the parameterized query v equals all. How do I handle that? Well, let's go over here to index and let's look at this. In the onGet async, which is where I'm actually getting, that's going to get called on the page load. When the page is requested, I added two things to this. One is I created a string v equals request query v. That was the actual parameter that I passed to string. If there is nothing passed over, this is going to return a null. I do convert it to a string, but really it doesn't matter what it returns because and what it comes out as is an empty string if there's nothing passed. But I have this if v is not equal to all. Well, if it's not equal to all, I'm going to filter on the current user. So what I do is I get the current user ID, which I do through this, the users find first. So I pull the user ID. Then I take the past model, the model that this is actually viewing on, which is donation materials. I take donation materials, and then I simply filter it on the parameter, the query where the entered by user ID is equal to the UID of the current user, and it basically filters donation materials down to only those materials that were entered by the current user. This is a quick and dirty, but it's also something that's extremely useful to know how to do in .NET Core with Razor. This is a .NET Core Razor application, and hopefully this was useful to you. Something that that is relatively common that you would do in a real application. Thank you. Good coding.